Good evening and thank you for joining us for Crampton News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Tonight, Spokane County Democrats believe they were targeted in a political attack after a man walked into their headquarters with a bomb threat this morning.
The headquarters are inside a labor union building on North Division. Crampton News' Amanda Rowley joins us live at the scene tonight with the latest updates from police. Amanda?
Mark and Whitney, the area is no longer taped up and Division is now open to traffic in both directions, but Spokane police are still here on the scene tonight. So Spokane Police Sergeant Terry Pruniger says the man who they've arrested walked into the Teamsters Labor Union building and headed straight on the first floor to the Spokane County Democrats headquarters. Police believe he had what appeared to be an explosive device. Spokane police officers on scene say the man repeatedly threatened to blow up the Teamsters Union building and held one person in an office against their will. They say they found smoke when they went inside.
It was evident the male had started a fire inside one of the offices, and then he also indicated that he started his device. Police
say everyone did get out of the building safely. The Spokane County Democrats chair, Nicole Bishop, told me she believes this was a politically motivated incident. One of the volunteers in the office told her the man went straight into their office on the first floor, which was clearly marked with a sign.
He handed a manifesto to our volunteers and said that he had a bomb, and she was able to see out of his backpack there were wires that were coming out of it. And so she was put in a really precarious position. He apparently was pretty physically aggressive in that he was a taller, more imposing gentleman who kept approaching her and walking closer toward her. So it was certainly a scary situation for our volunteers, and my heart absolutely breaks for them. I'm grateful, of course, that they're physically safe, but knowing what they went through today, it's definitely a lot of care is going their way.
She says there were at least 2 volunteers in the Spokane County Democrats offices today, possibly 3, but thankfully no one was hurt. Now, at this time, police are unsure if that device was in fact explosive. They're still investigating. In fact, they say Major Crimes and the Explosive Disposal Unit are investigating this incident. Mark, Whitney.
Amanda, before we let you go, I'm curious, do we know when the Democrats are going to be meeting next?
Well, actually, the Washington State Democrats are in fact holding an emergency meeting here tonight at 5:30. They wanted to offer an opportunity to share any updates they know of the incident and even open the floor for thoughts or questions from the community at large.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much tonight.
Now to some breaking news. Spokane Valley firefighters are knocking out a house fire that happened earlier this afternoon. Fire officials say they saw a plume of smoke with 30-foot tall flames. 7 people were inside the home at the time. They were evacuated. Fire crews say they are prepared to be on scene all night. No one was hurt in the fire. The cause remains under investigation at this time.
Spokane native and Gonzaga Prep alum Anne McLean is one of 18 NASA astronauts selected to train for an upcoming trip to the moon. The Artemis team comes from a diverse range of backgrounds, expertise, and experience. The Lunar Exploration Program will launch multiple missions as soon as 2023 and eventually will land the next man and the first woman to step foot on the moon in 2024.
When I was a little girl growing up in Spokane, Washington, becoming an astronaut, like nobody did that. There was nobody that I could look to and say that person walked the path that I'm about to go walk.
She has walked it well, though. Last year, McLean spent 204 days aboard the International Space Station. During her time in space, McLean took part in 2 spacewalks and numerous hours of research. Also, by the way, astronaut Kayla Barron from Richland in the Tri-Cities is also part of Team Artemis, so congratulations to both of them for being selected.
Yeah, how cool is that? As the pandemic surges all across the country, pet adoptions are at an all-time high, and so, unfortunately, are pet scams. Last week, we shared the story of a local woman who was grieving the death of her daughter and was targeted in a puppy scam. Jeannie Dixon thought she was buying a Newfoundland puppy from a breeder online, but was ripped off. She lost more than $2,000 and never did get that dog. Well, the story resonated with many of you because immediately after it aired, several people offered to gift Jeannie a puppy. Well, I was there over the weekend when a local breeder gave Jeannie a Newfoundland puppy.
I'm overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers and so grateful, very grateful.
So hear more from Jeannie and that local breeder who stepped up to help. My full story airs tomorrow night on KREM 2 News at 6.
I'm looking forward to that one, Mark, for sure. All right, been a very gloomy, cold day here in Spokane, but it looks like our weather pattern is about to make some changes, even bringing in some chances of snow. Meteorologist Tom Sherry is joining us now on when we might be able to expect some of that white. Tom?
Well, we might get a little bit, maybe Friday mid-morning, but it shouldn't be very much at all. We got a better chance of getting more snow Saturday night into Sunday. And I think that for tonight, though, we're just going to track fog and low clouds, kind of more of what we saw today. Right now, we're at 32 degrees. We didn't get much warmer than that today. And you can take a look at the satellite and radar picture. We've got some cloud cover across us, but again, we're not seeing any precipitation east of the Cascades. So low clouds, some freezing fog expected with an overnight low of 27. I think we'll start out Thursday with cloudy skies. We hope to burn it off, or we've got some wind that's going to start blowing out of the northeast. So that may give us some clearing in the afternoon. If we get that clearing, then I think we could warm up to 39. If we stay cloudy all day long, probably won't get as warm as that. And then again, we're talking about maybe a few snow showers on Friday, and again Saturday night into Sunday morning before it changes over to a rain-snow mix by Sunday afternoon. Daytime highs in the mid-30s. Next week, lots of wet weather on the way. I'll have a look at your 7-day forecast coming right up.
Looking forward to that, Tom. Thank you very much. Now to tracking the latest coronavirus numbers. North Idaho set a grim new record for case numbers and the number of COVID deaths in a single day. In North Idaho, the Panhandle Health District reporting 419 new coronavirus cases today. There are currently 67 people in the hospital. They're reporting 11 new deaths today as well. And in total, there have been 140 deaths in North Idaho. Meantime, today, the Spokane Regional Health District reporting 230 new COVID-19 cases. There are 2 new deaths here, bringing the total number of deaths to 295. 93 Spokane County residents are in the hospital. 61% of people who had COVID in Spokane County have since recovered. Want to point out that cases reported this week are expected to include the more than 700 positive cases connected to the Airway Heights Correction Center outbreak. At the Correction Center, 69 cases have been reported just since yesterday.
And Spokane area ICUs are now operating at about 80% capacity, which is what the state considers to be the maximum of acceptable occupancy. Anything higher than 80% is generally believed to be a stress on the system. Now, at today's media briefing with the Regional Health District, Interim Health Officer Dr. Frank Velasquez said healthcare leaders across the region are talking almost daily to try and stay ahead of increased demand. Right now, they're looking about 4 to 6 weeks in advance, trying to anticipate how many beds might be needed.
There's such demand that could get to the point of overloading the capacity that we have. So the best way to prevent that is the way we're doing it. And we also have strategies to mitigate in the event that we see an increase in patients going forward into the next several weeks.
Dr. Velasquez also said the hospitals are seeing more COVID infections that came after Thanksgiving holiday get-togethers.
Washington is set to receive its first batch of COVID vaccines in the coming days, and we've been getting a lot of questions from you about the vaccine. Questions like, after I'm vaccinated, do I still need to wear a mask? That's why KREM launched the vaccine team to bring you answers. So I took several of your vaccine questions to Dr. Anna Wald. She's a professor of medicine at the University of Washington and the head of the Division of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for the school. She's also worked on numerous vaccines during her career. She said while the vaccine news is promising and exciting, she also cautions people that it will take several months, even a year, she says, before we can return to pre-COVID life. Here is her answer to one of the most common questions we've seen from many of you.
Can you spread COVID after you get the vaccine?
That's a really great question, and the answer is we don't know. Because we now have data to show that at least 2 of the vaccines reduce the disease caused by the virus, but we don't know to what extent infection is reduced.
I also asked Dr. Wald if we should still wear a mask in public after we've received the vaccine. Hear her answer to that question and more coming up on KREM 2 News at 6 tonight.
And still ahead tonight, we are looking into a viral image that seems to show a list of deadliest days that the U.S. has faced, including this past week. We're verifying fact from fiction next.